Emotional intelligence in marriage, they say, involves understanding and managing your own emotions, as well as recognizing and responding to your partner's emotions also. Now, it's about being aware of how your feelings and behaviors affect your spouse, vice versa. Now, self-awareness, recognizing your own emotions, triggers, and how they influence your actions, your self-regulation, managing your emotions effectively, that touch of social awareness, understanding your partner's emotions, and the overall relationship management, using emotional intelligence to build and maintain a healthy relationship. Hello and welcome to Insight Today. I am Jumai Manson. Don't go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Insight Today, and we'll be looking at a very sensitive topic. It's all about emotional intelligence in relationships and, of course, marriage. And today, I am not doing it alone. I have a very good friend of mine, Victor Prince Dixon. He is a human capital engineer, and he'll be throwing in more light on what emotional intelligence in relationships or marriage is all about. Good afternoon, Prince. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you for having me.
Okay. The way you said it, what's going on?
I'm just super excited, you know.
Now, explain to us, for someone out there who is wondering and saying to his or herself, what is Prince talking about? What is this emotional intelligence in relationship or marriage all about?
Okay, basically, emotional intelligence simply means that that capacity. First, is a capacity. You have to understand it as a capacity, and to some level, a competence. It means a skill to which you build yourself to be able to be aware of how you feel at a point in time. Why you feel the way you feel. What are the background that give birth to how you feel the way you feel. And the reason is because emotions has a way of affecting your decisions. Decisions have a way of affecting your behavior. So for every behavior, there is a decision. And for every decision, there is some level of emotions that contribute to that decision. So emotional intelligence are actually two things. Number one, the first one is for you to understand that everybody will always experience an emotion. So emotions on its own, independent. Intelligence is that you are aware on how that emotions affect you. So people understand this thing at different level. And how you understand it is what will decide how you relate with people. That's what will even decide to the level of even what you wear, how you wear it, where you are even going to, the kind of relationship you build, the sustainability of a relationship. You know, someone will say, I understand people. You understand people not necessarily because you are in their hearts, but because you've been able to follow their decisions, time their emotions, and then be able to manage them. So all said and done, emotional intelligence is that capacity to know yourself well enough, to understand yourself enough so that it gives you the capacity to understand others. That way you can make a very good relationship out of it, basically.
Really? So it's all about self-awareness.
Yeah.
And that's what it contributes to relationship and marriage.
Very, very. Because oftentimes, if you're not aware, you wouldn't know your triggers. If you're not aware, you don't know words that people can say to you that will hurt you. And because you're hurt, also you won't understand when you decide to use hurtful words on others. So basically, that's why you need to know yourself, then you know others.
Okay. Now, looking at this particular, you explaining to us what emotional intelligence is all about in marriage. Now, in what ways can emotional regulation improve communication with your partner or spouse?
Yeah, for instance, every relationship will always have a point of conflict, because don't forget, we have to always start when we're discussing marriage from the point that you're dealing with two people raised from different backgrounds. They come together. So their priority is different. How they feel towards every matter is entirely different. So when they come together, the first thing you do and the best gift you give your partner is that you understand yourself enough to know certain things that trigger you. And what do you do with that? You communicate to your partner. These are the things that trigger me. For instance, I come from an environment where there are people that are raised in homes where parenting wasn't too good. So words that were used on them were words that actually disempowered them. You are very foolish. Who are you? You know, you won't amount to anything, and the rest of them. You are so stupid, you won't go far in life. Now, someone has gone through this for almost, say, 10, 12, 15 years, and then the person comes into an environment where they are now married. And then you think you can carelessly use that kind of words to the person. Now, when you use, the pain is not going to be what you inflicted. It's going to rise. It is like a spectrum. It's going to go and drag all the pain of 18 years to make it a pain of 1 year. I don't know whether I've seen this experience where someone says, I just told her that she's stupid, but she took it too hard. Your thinking is that what you said that matter. What you don't realize is that there are emotional anchors to those words that the person has been carrying for
a very long time.
A long time. So the word you said now is going to ignite a lot of balls of fire. And then people are shocked. So that's why it's necessary for you to know, where did I get my pain? Who caused my pain? Why did I get those pains? And those pains, are they words that, you know, it causes to come out? You know, the Bible will say that out of the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So most people, they are so hurt that when they open their mouth to speak, hurtful words comes out.
Yeah.
So in that kind of scenario, it hurts in a family setting. And that's why you notice some people are very happy during their wedding 2 years after they are divorced. And someone will say, what happened? The reason is because lack of emotional intelligence. One can go with hurtful words. One can start saying things that demean the other person. And you can say sorry. But the issue is that the sorry cannot erase the pain you've inflicted on someone else. So over a time, it can cause people to get, you know, divided. So the whole essence of emotional regulation is that you train yourself enough to know, if you am too angry, I shouldn't speak. Keep quiet. Anytime you are very angry, a sensible person knows the logic is, don't speak when you are angry. Hold on to it until you settle yourself before you open your tongue. Otherwise, all of those anger will come out in form of words, in form of sentences. And when you start hurling it at the other person, these are arrows that, to be honest, sometimes some people will tell you it's better you beat them rather than use words on them. So when emotions are high, anyone can use negative words.
And I want to ask, you know, you differentiated between empathy and
compassion.
Of course, compassion. Now, I will not use empathy because you've already thrown more, like you said, you do not believe in empathy because empathy is like taking advantage of the other individual. So let's say compassion. Now, why is being compassionate crucial in understanding your partner's needs and, of course, feelings?
Compassion brings you to the point where you become human like the other person. Compassion is like a kind reminder, I am human too. As when someone makes a mistake. So what compassion does is that it brings you to the point, you are human too. You have made a mistake. You cannot say you've been all perfect. So it brings you to that point, I am human too. However, the difference to why I love compassion more is that compassion will remind itself that I am human too, but there's a sense of responsibility attached to that. So I may be compassionate towards you, but I should also be responsible enough to tell you the truth, that if there are things you are not getting right, please get it right. But it simply means that in telling you, I'm not going to be so brutal to the point that I don't care how you feel. In telling you that, look, you need to sit up, there's a need for responsibility. I must not abuse you, I must not demean you, I must not disrespect you. That's what compassion does in balancing the discussion. Rather than just hurling words at you, compassion regulates the words to the point where you are human. I'm telling you, look, you didn't get this thing right. You know you really didn't get this thing right. Yes, however, I know you would have made mistake, but the truth is that I believe you can do better. You can do more. But in what way can I support you to get there? So these are the kind of conversation that compassion will bring. But if you take that compassion away, that is where words like, you're stupid, you have irresponsible start coming. So at the end of the day, you are really not communicating. You're actually just insulting. So that's the difference. Compassion will help you communicate. But if you take compassion out, you don't communicate. You only demean the person you're dealing with.
And you know, a lot of people love to demean individuals.
Yeah, the rule is that every broken person breaks people. That's the rule. If your heart is full of anger and you're talking to people, you throw anger out. If you feel inadequate and you're talking to people, you throw inadequacy out. Anything you feel, that's the concept behind emotional intelligence, is to say if you're not even aware that you're full of anger, when you start talking, anger will come out. If you're not aware you're full of regrets, when you start talking, regret will come out. That's the whole essence of, you know yourself enough to know the state at which you are before you start dealing with another person. Because if you don't, likelihood is like a disease, you're going to contaminate the other person too.
Now let's talk about triggers in marriage and of course relationships. Now at one point, how can an individual identify and manage these triggers that occur in relationships and marriage?
The first is, if you know yourself, if you don't have identity crisis at the point to come into marriage, because oftentimes the problem is that most people come into marriage with a lot of identity crisis. That's usually the biggest problem. The whole problems of marriage is highly dependent on entry points. There are people who come in with a very wrong entry point, and so it causes a lot of issues. But if you know your core, if you know what you're doing, if you go into marriage, the first thing, the whole concept of the word dating is that you're communicating triggers. That's what dating is all about. You're communicating triggers. You're communicating pain points. You're communicating pleasure points. You're communicating everything about you to the other person. It's like you're marketing your being to the other person. And the person also markets their being to you. So when you start the journey, it's easy to say, oh, I know she told me that words like this, she has been fighting it for a very long time, so I cannot use this kind of words. You know, action like this has been a pain point for a while, so I have to be very careful about it. But this is why I said the entry point. So at the point of that dating, most people don't really communicate. Because the truth of the matter is you're meeting a stranger.
Exactly.
So the best thing a stranger can give is the gift of communication.
But at the same time, and the gift of him telling you what the kind of feelings, but it's not possible. I think it's too new.
It's not too new. It's not too new. No,
but when you're in a relationship, or they say there's a saying that goes that you do not know your spouse in the first or second year of marriage.
That's not true.
Someone said that was, and in fact, a wise one said.
I know.
He says you do not know because you're still getting to understand yourselves properly. But in the second year, third year, fourth year, okay, fifth year, sixth year, okay, seventh year, you get to understand properly who you're really married to. You identify that, okay, this person has temperaments, this person can change or whatever. Like in the first 2 years of marriage, you do not know the person you're married to.
You see, these are the people who sell the story of identity crisis. Look, except you have identity crisis, why wouldn't you know? Why would
all your
think
feelings
about
don't
it.
come out at once?
Yeah, but not all, but to a large extent. I should be able to know what are your principles. I was supposed to know your values. I was supposed to know what broke you, what strengthened you. I'm supposed to know how were you raised. All those things will play out. That's why we call it dating. On the average, how long do you date? Most people do. There are people who do 6 months. There are those who do 1 year before they get married.
1 year.
Within that 6 months, 1 year, you meet. Most people meet twice a week. So if you calculate it, how many number of weeks, how many number of time have you spent together? You're supposed to share. Again, like I told you, the problem with us oftentimes is that we want to build something on nothing. And that's why it never lasts. That's why it's not sustainable. As long as there is principle first, anything you build can stand. The first principle, the essence of knowing each other as stranger, is build some level of level playing field to which I know you, you understand me. If I know your values, I know your experience, I can easily guess. Now, what you will not know in marriage is when certain situation you've never experienced pop up, a new experience will evolve. Now, that's a different ball game now. That's a different ball game. But on the average, you should know what food are you dealing with, the kind of food, when you eat, clothes, where you go to, people you deal with, words that have framed you, words that disaffirmed you, words that disempowered you. I'm supposed to know it in the first 1 year of knowing you. So that he also teaches me that's on the part of communication. Then there's a part of observation, where you keep quiet in the relationship and truly observe the person you're dealing with. You see when people come around that person, how do the person behave? You understand? Then you get to know, oh, there seems to be a problem in this area. Can we look into it? And the rest of them. That's what I'm saying. As long as there is honest communication, you will know people. The challenge in marriage, oftentimes, people come in as if it's a secret society. They come in to cheat each other from beginning. So everybody's covering unnecessary stuff that needs to be covered. If you come with transparency, why wouldn't I tell you from the first 2-3 days we've met, oh, please, this is where I'm coming from. This is where I'm heading to. And these are the kind of things that break me. These are the kind of things that strengthen me.
Wait a minute, Prince. You mean to tell me that is how it works, that you meet someone, you marry the person, no, you've gone through the process of dating and all of that, and you're married to the person the first day, and you sit down and you say, this is what breaks me. What got to that point first?
What were you people supposed to be discussing in marriage? It's because we've not been serious with ourselves.
What do you mean?
Okay, when you sit down in marriage and you want to decide, what are the core things you discuss? Are you not your vision?
Exactly. How many kids do you want?
One.
Where do you want to spend the rest of your life
One,
together?
two. Let's keep counting them.
Where are we after retirement? Are we going around the world?
Okay. Wouldn't that bring sub discussions to why? If you're doing 3,
I
why?
think we ignore that part that you just mentioned.
So fine, let's pay the price because we ignore it. That's why I keep telling you.
But
we
in
miss the
reality, you know how reality is.
It's not
when
reality.
you meet someone that you are in love with and you want to spend the rest of your life with, you don't even think about the negative. It's all about the positive, all about the good times.
No, then you're lying to yourself.
No,
you are lying. Sincerely.
I beg to differ. I know you're the human capital engineer here. But at the same time, in marriage, when you meet that person that your heart connects with, you don't even want to know or think about the negative. You always, really. I'm sure some other women out there or men out there will agree with me. Ladies, please agree with me on this one. The thing is, you think about all the good times that you should have and you pray to God to have. When those turbulence comes, then there's always a way to handle it. I don't think you will sit down, me being a realist that I am, I don't think we'll sit down and say, I don't like this, I don't like hurtful words. Really? When it comes and we have a misunderstanding, then we sit down and have that, we have that discussion and we end it there and we move on.
Okay.
But to talk about it, really, we talk about how many kids you want to have, after retirement, where are we going?
Okay, hold on a little bit. Let's start with that. If you discuss how many kids you want to have, wouldn't we take to parenting style?
Some people ignore that.
You see that?
That's the thing. We're Africans.
Okay, no. I don't like that insult. Don't insult us as we're Africans. See,
I don't understand.
Let me explain. God. Maybe I've not given you a deeper perspective to what human capital engineering is. What my work entails is we trace culture to see what changed people, why people fail, why people succeed. So that if you say you want to build a person, what are the important areas you need to focus into? When you want to, what we call recapitalize a human being, what are the things you look at? This is our work. So in the process of tracing, what we always find out is, what are the weak points in relationship management? Those weak points, if you continue like this, can we truly build a sustainable relationship? If we want to correct a relationship, what are the things we improve? Do you understand? So this is what gives me this capacity to understand some of these statements I make. Now, if you meet, that's why I told you, if sincerely you enter into a relationship and in a marriage and you're building a home, and you say, oh, I want to have 3. The other one say, I was thinking of 5. Discussion, there's what they call subtopic will come up. Why 5 for you? Why 3 for me? For me in our family, I'm the only child. So for that reason, I want to increase. Me in our family, they were only just 4 boys only. So for me, anything we do, I'm okay with 5, but I must have 2 girls there. And I want a girl beginning, I want a girl at the end. Or the guy tells you, no, we're only brothers, I didn't even have a sister. So I want a girl as my... Do you understand? Those statements are beginning to let you know why people value some things. Okay. So you're beginning to understand, oh, this person values having a baby girl first because of... Yeah, you hear some women that will say, I want a baby girl first so that she helps me. in the house. Now it's helping you understand this where they place what you call their priorities, their importance. So if tomorrow you go for maybe what do you call it, where is this thing they check where
ultrasound.
Ultrasound, and then she's telling you it has to be a girl, a girl, a girl, a girl. I'm giving her a name, a girl. You might take it personal, but if you understand that there is reason why this person is interested in a girl is because of ABCD, it gives you an insight on the person you're dealing with. Because how do you build marriage with a stranger? No, you can't do well with a stranger. You come together as strangers. However, nature has given you an opportunity to convert each other from strangers to friends, from friends to strong union. And that's why the Bible actually says two come together to become one. So the process of that oneness is communication. You discuss your dream. Okay, yeah, this is where I want to head to. I tried doing business, but my business failed. And I felt very bad when it failed. And the reason why I failed was my partner disappointed me. You're beginning to see points. That's what I'm saying. Those pointers help you understand the person you're dealing with. What is supposed to be new to you is when in that marriage, things happened that is entirely different that these people have not experienced before. So they will react in a way you've never seen or talked about. And it's going to be, oh wow. For instance, you have a woman, a young girl who, okay, for the first time she has a miscarriage. The reaction, she has never experienced miscarriage on a good day. So that one would be new. New both to you, the man, and new to her. So the reaction would be a different experience entirely. But for other things, for God's sake, things like vision, dreams, things that broke me in school, how I succeeded in school, the first business I did and I lost money, how did I react to it? All those things are normal.
Really? I'm sure some people will beg to differ and they'll say, okay, really? That means for individuals who didn't go through this direction of discussing all of these, the flaws that they have, achievements, the first car that they came across that they bought and all of that, how can they correct all of that to improve their emotional intelligence in marriage?
Discuss presently. You're married. Discuss.
So communication is key.
See, communication is not key. Communication is everything.
Really?
The purpose of communication is to exchange this data we are talking about. Because you make a decision based on a data, right? Based on that data, you make that decision. Most people that have faulted emotional intelligence, what's their problem? They react before they understand why their counterpart took the decision they took. That's what I'm saying. But if you have that additional earlier data, it empowers you to make better emotions. So what I'm saying is that there is emotional intelligence, the capacity to know yourself and know others, but it's built on the principle that if you're running a relationship, you must communicate. It's not an option. You must communicate. If you cannot communicate, I don't care the level of emotional intelligence you have, it will not end up being healthy.
I want you to say something in 1 minute now. Why is emotional intelligence considered a key factor in a long-term relationship or marriage?
Because you need to make decisions consistently in every relationship and marriage, and you need the data of the person you're dealing with to help you, inform you to make informed decisions. If you don't have that, you will always be making faulty decisions.
All right. Now, I just want to add a little to what you've just said. Of course, it has made a lot of sense, but at the same time, a marriage with high emotional intelligence is more likable to be resilient, satisfying, and long-lasting. And that brings me to the end of the program Insight today, and I did not do it alone. I did not do it alone. I did not do it alone today. I am seated close to a very good friend of mine, no other person than Victor Prince Dixon. He is a capital human engineer.
Human capital engineer.
Okay. Human capital engineer. Thank you so much for being a part of the program and delving into marital bond and, of course, emotional intelligence for individuals to know how to better their relationships and marry, to understand one another. And like you mentioned, empathy is nothing close to compassion. All right, now, thank you so much for being a part of Insight today. Hope you've learned one or two when it comes to emotional intelligence, whether in a relationship or marriage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Victor Prince Dixon.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And remember, he is a human capital engineer. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. And from Prince and I, we will say
Goodbye.
Bye. Human angle topic on family, marriage, peer pressure, drug and substance abuse, societal issues, women and children, and so much more. Now it's crucial to approach these subjects with empathy and understanding. These issues often intertwine with societal norms and can lead to tough conversations. It is important to create a safe space for dialogue where individuals can share their experiences without fear or judgment. I am Jumai Manson. Join me every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the program Inside Today on Global Television.